Hello and welcome to Moms on Mics. I'm Joanne.
I'm Cash.
And I'm Sophia.
In this episode, we are talking about the choking game, also called the pass out game, fainting game, or blackout challenge. It's a dangerous activity where young people cut off oxygen to their brain to experience a brief high, dizziness, or euphoria. It is not a game, and it can be fatal, even on the first attempt. It involves intentionally restricting oxygen or blood flow to the brain. Kids and teens often discover it through peers, social media, or schoolyard rumors. Many who try it don't see it as self-harm. They think it's a harmless challenge or a trick. They usually partake out of curiosity about altered sensations, peer pressure, videos or trends that make it look fun or safe, or believe that it is just fooling around rather than dangerous. Often children genuinely do not understand the risks, which is part of why tragedies happen. With us today is Keri Workmen. Keri experienced this tragedy when she discovered the lifeless body of her son, Bryce, in October of 2014. Welcome to the podcast, Keri.
Thank you for having me.
An autopsy determined Bryce's death was the result of asphyxiation, and he had been strangled by a rope he had placed around his neck. Bryce was 11 years old at the time. Keri, can you tell us a bit about Bryce? Like, what was he like?
So Bryce was your typical 11-year-old. He was very much into sports. He loved football. He loved going to school. He was very funny, quirky, pretty typical 11-year-old.
What would be one of your favorite memories you'd like people to know about him?
Bryce was a very generous soul. He was always thinking of others over himself. When we traveled or in the community, we did a lot of volunteer work, and he was very eager to participate and give back despite his young age.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's really cool. Can you tell us about that tragic day?
So I'm not sure exactly how to begin this, but basically it was a typical day. It was October 5th, and Calgary, the first Sunday of every October, does a breast cancer awareness run at South Center Mall.
Yeah.
So we had gotten up really early, and because that's something I participate in, and I went and did my 5K, and my husband and Bryce were waiting for me at the end. We came home, and I run a cleaning business. So Malcolm and Bryce were going to go and do my cleaning job, my commercial cleaning job. I was going to nap because my family actually had a celebration. We had a brand new baby in our family. And so we were pretty excited to go meet her as she was getting released from the hospital with the mom, my sister-in-law, later that day. And so as a family, we were all going to go over and meet the newest addition. And so Bryce ended up bowing out to his dad, saying that he'd like to stay home. Malcolm went to do the work, and I went to sleep. And then, yeah, I'm not sure how much you want me to get into all this, you guys.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, we'd really like to spread awareness, right? So whatever you're comfortable talking about.
So bottom line is, you got to remember a lot of my knowledge is really after the fact, because that day is very unclear to me. It's all like I'm aware of what happened and how it all, but it's really hard, ladies. It's my son, right? Like,
Of course.
Yeah.
And shock
yeah,
probably plays a factor too, right? Like
right,
our bodies try and protect us from
yeah,
too much, right? So we kind of don't always remember things
right,
clearly and stuff, right?
right, and that's why I just wanted to reiterate like that. I know what happened, but I also got told what happened, right? If that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah.
because it was it was really very hard. It was, you're right,
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
right? Or even the weeks afterwards and everything. It was very unclear, like how, why we were supposed to be going to Disneyland. We were like, he was getting a haircut on the Tuesday. Like, we're a normal family that was very involved in sports in the community at the school. And we just, this tragedy, unbeknownst to us, I grew up, and I had no knowledge of this choking game or how it even existed or that kids were playing it. I mean, the knowledge I have now is because I've learned about it. I had no warning signs. We had no nothing, just, And so my wanting to come on here and share was just the same as when I spoke at Woman Talk, or I've done some other media releases and stuff, is just to warn other parents.
Okay, so what had his school experience been like? Did he have a regular group of friends that he hung out with? Was his school experience good or typical?
I think Bryce had a fairly normal school experience. He had a little bit of bullying going on at school. And again, I don't know facts, but I was a pretty involved mom that I asked a lot of questions after school or when he would come home. And so I'd say, who you play with? How was recess? And I found it funny that week that one of his bullies had actually befriended him, refriend, and he was playing with him at lunch and recess, back, because Bryce was a person that forgave very easily. Like you could do him wrong, but then if you said I'm sorry, and then he forgave very easy too. And so I was like, pardon, you were playing with this person after he did that to you in April? And then he's like, yeah, he's my friend now. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And it's, the mama bear, right?
Right.
You want to protect them. You don't want them to fall back into that type thing. And kids are very, very good at seeing past stuff like that, right?
As much as I always encouraged Bryce to make good choices and to be a leader, he was very much a follower. Like, I remember, like, a lot of our days would end dropping at school and saying, make good choices, be a leader. But he was always trying to fit in and kind of going with the flow. So if a kid threw a backpack on the roof and then he'd throw his backpack on the roof, being silly in the school, waiting for the breakfast program to open, then I'd say, why did you throw your backpack? I don't know. Like, and he genuinely seemed to not know. Like, it just, why would you make that bad choice? And he's like, well, I don't know. They did it. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
I work in a school, so I see this every single day.
Right.
Right. That's kids. That's normal, though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I can't say he made any drastically bad choices. Obviously, participating in this game was a bad choice, but I don't believe in my heart of all hearts he knew the consequences of it.
Yeah. Do you know how he found out about this game? Did you ever find that out?
So on like TV, in an hour crime show, it shows, the police take the phone and they're able to figure this all out. It's not as simple as that. Because he was only a minor, obviously the Calgary police were involved and had to do their investigation. And when they took Bryce's phone, like, we actually had to appeal to Apple to get into his phone, even though we were his parents. And it took 6 months for it to come back. Yeah. And it was a very slow process. Like I said, unlike crime shows and things that you see on TV, that just isn't the reality. This was months of court papers and stuff. And then to my understanding, everybody thinks Snapchat's very fun and silly faces you make with the bunny ears or the tongue sticking out. But there's a dark side to Snapchat. Yeah. There's some bad stuff going on these apps. And the kids challenge each other to do these bad behaviors. And and even film them. I never seen anything. The cops didn't show me anything. But to my knowledge, there's proof. There was some proof on his phone. But again,
Through Snapchat.
just that there's just this dark web of on Snapchat part with kids challenging other kids and stuff to participate in these activities.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And telling them that it's not dangerous, but it really is.
Yeah, Snapchat is a bad one because most people think that you take the picture or the video or whatever, and then once you send it, it shortly thereafter disappears. But it doesn't technically. It disappears for like everyone else to see, but it's still held on like the Snapchat database, basically. So it's people like the police, they can get subpoena whatever and they can see what they need to see. Sophia, let's say I sent you a picture on Snapchat, you've got like a certain amount of time to see it, and then after that it goes away.
Right.
Or like after you look at it, it goes away shortly after, whatever. And so a lot of kids feel like that means they can do all the sneaky stuff on Snapchat because their parents can't see, which is true. The parents can't see, but it's not gone forever. It's only gone forever for us.
And then again, like everything I'm saying is all everything I've been told. But so the police told us that child and his mom came to the school and had a meeting with the police and the principal. And I've never been told who that child is or exactly what was said word for word in the meeting. But not like, so Bryce died Sunday, but the Monday following, like a week later, somebody came forward to the school. But again, because they were under 12, we never got told who the kid was. And they've never come to me or my husband and said anything to us. And the police wouldn't tell me who they were.
What was the meeting about?
Because they were trying to get answers on, like exactly who was all privy to this game and who was all playing it and everything.
Okay. So she was trying to find out who else was playing this game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The school was helping. Yeah. And then the school phoned the principal. It was a male. And he phoned the detective, and then the detective came to the school. But yeah, because we were very confused because the choking game can, like, so when Bryce first passed the first couple hours, although there was no suicide note or there was no indication he committed suicide, they had nothing else to go on except that he committed suicide. And then as a mom and my husband as his father, we were just like, he wouldn't have committed suicide. Like, we were going to meet, his cousin. He had a haircut, right? Like, he was a happy child. He wasn't depressed. He wasn't sad. He wasn't, you're right. Like, so this doesn't make sense to us. And then one of the police, because when you're at the hospital, then the police are in your home and they go through Bryce's room and like they do all their work. And then like the person from the
autopsy,
like the coroner lady, like she came, because to this day, even I still don't know what was on Bryce's neck. Like, I didn't see it. Like, and they've never shown me. But to my understanding, it was like at a grandma's house, like how you tie back your curtains.
Oh, okay,
like a old fashioned, like, and we don't even own that. We don't even have curtains. We don't have those kind of blinds. We don't but like I said, I've never even seen it. Like, because they held a lot back from us, like whether to protect us or whether to, we just never seen it. Right. And like I said, when I never even seen it on him because of the way he was slumped forward, and like, so I never seen any of that. Like, 911 got called, they came in, they took and they pushed me to the other side of the house, almost not pushed, but like go right, like, because I was in shock. Like, I was
of course,
like So there's just pieces of the puzzle that didn't make sense. Like, where did this item come from? And why would you be playing this? And like, how did you learn it? And because, yeah, we don't even, like I said, own that or own those kind of curtains to even have it in our home.
Right.
So yeah, I agreed to come on here today but I didn't really know what to say or talk about because yeah,
No,
I've,
that's totally
I've,
understandable.
yeah, so I don't know what to say or do, ladies,
Yeah,
but
no, don't worry about it. Well,
okay.
you're doing great.
Okay.
And honestly, I can't imagine how difficult this is for you and how difficult it was at the time and it continues to be. So we really appreciate you coming on here. This
I
is,
do feel it's an important topic because I do know that it's still being played because of the people that come forward to me
yeah,
in messages randomly because it's been 10 years. This
yeah.
didn't happen recent, right? It's been 10 years and people still randomly because I'm pretty vocal about it on my own social media and my own, to spread the message. And I'm not shy to say how he passed. And then, yeah, but it's a topic that doesn't get talked about enough. And I do feel it's an important topic that should be discussed. That
Oh,
For sure.
yeah,
parents should be having with their children age appropriately.
yeah.
I am 46 years old, and when I was a child, I know people were playing this game. So this game has been around for many, 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 many years, right?
Yeah,
Or not even game. I wouldn't even call it a game, just this trend,
exactly.
right? So I know it's been around a long time. This is nothing.
I feel like as of late, like blow up of social media and, like TikTok and Instagram and things like that, it's kind of resurged and is becoming a trend once again. Like it kind of, I had never heard about this until Sophia, you made this suggestion for the episode. I was like, what, how have I never heard of this? Like, I mean, my kids are grown, right? I'm like, I don't
That's how
think
I
this,
felt when the police came with it.
yeah,
What's like, what? And then they acted like you should know. And I'm like, I don't know. I grew up in Germany. I'm an army brat. Like, we didn't play this. And maybe it was a North American thing.
yeah. And I mean, the people that I hung out with, we were busy doing other not great things, but I just don't remember any of them. I don't remember this being a thing. So I definitely think it's important, especially like as I was researching this and have discovered it's been around for, like Sophia said, for so long, right? And it's just not something that parents talk about. Like we talk about the bullying in schools, like there's always bullying, and it kind of kids end up taking their own lives due to the bullying and stuff, but this isn't talked about. And so I think it's really important and we're glad that you were able to come on here and help share talk about this and share this with other moms that may or may not have any idea about it.
Right. Thanks. Yeah, for listening.
I know you mentioned a little bit about bullying. Did he show any signs regarding depression?
That's what I was just about to touch base on is that I never seen Bryce to be depressed or know him to be depressed. Like he was pretty open about talking about his feelings and yeah, like people would let him down or disappoint him when they would be mean or stuff and he'd think, but no, I wouldn't necessarily classify him to be depressed. He wasn't on any medication or diagnosed with ADHD or any of that stuff. But like I said, we would ask him to make good choices and, be a leader. But he would follow other kids' suggestions, even if they led him down a path that might be wrong, for example, just to participate or just to fit in.
Right.
Not gonna lie, my biggest fear as a mom is the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because it leads to so much down the road.
Right.
Yeah. And it's tough. You don't always really know how to help them through it, right? And I feel like there's a whole bunch of controversy as to what's the right methods to take to help your kids with bullying. I was very much, my kids are just about 30 and 25, and I was very much, it doesn't matter what anyone says about you, like suck it up and just ignore them. Like they're just, or give it back to them worse. But if you let them know that it bothers you, they're going to continue and such. And very much so, if someone hits you, you hit them back. You don't let them push you around, right? Which, like I said, that was a long time ago. Now that's not really the method that a lot of people tend to take. But I think when it comes to bullies, I personally think there's only so many things that you can do. And especially I feel the school is very, like their hands are tied, right? They can only do so much without, you know, having the parents coming in and all that stuff. Like that, I just feel it's a hard position for the school. It's a hard situation for everybody to deal with, really.
And so, do you know, like, was this happening with other kids in the school?
Yeah, so I do. I'm aware now that, for example, on the Thursday night at the football practice, and when they were taking the pictures that night, the coach had caught three of them wrestling per se, but they were like choking each other, kind of like over by the bench, because like they were doing team pictures plus. Like it was supposed to be a football practice, but it was also the like they were doing team pictures that night too. And so, one by one, the kids would go and get their picture taken. They were 11-year-old boys. So they were rough, were like wrestling
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So the coach did come forward. I can't remember if either to the police or to Malcolm or myself. I don't think I wasn't in any way a good shape or form. Like I said, a lot of my information right now is coming from what I've been told and what I learned. I wasn't really but yeah, I do know that he caught them over by the bench, I guess, roughhousing, choking each other and stuff. And he's like, knock it off. And then they, knocked it off or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, that mom was brave and came to the principal on the Monday following, either the next week or the week after, either, 1 or 2 weeks after, with her child. And to my understanding, they came forward about playing this game also, and that they knew this was being played.
Okay, so this was on the football team then. This was being played with the boys on the football team?
This was on the football team on the Thursday night, and then at the school. I think it was at the school.
Okay, so it was happening a lot then within the school.
But then when you go on the internet and kind of search this game, they claim that there's supposed to be signs. So the signs are like possible marks on his neck or bloodshot eyes, or they just maybe are alone in their room or alone in the basement or alone somewhere. And then they come back and they just seem disorientated or not quite themselves.
Yeah.
And those are kind of signs that parents could watch for. And like we really thought long and hard, like if we seen any signs and stuff. And me and my husband can't remember seeing signs. Like we never seen marks on Bryce because, like I said, he's our only child. So we were, and we were very involved parents. Like either my husband was the coach, I might have been a team manager. We were, so we were pretty hands-on parents that we would have noticed. And I don't remember seeing these signs. So I'm not claiming that it was Bryce's first time, but I don't know how long he would have been playing this.
Right. And there was like nothing about his behavior that was different in the days or weeks leading up to that, like nothing.
No. And that's what I mean. I racked that over and over in my brain, like, because I was really seeking answers, right? Because we didn't have clear picture exactly, and so we were, like, and he was just, the day before he had football at Shoal Ice on the Saturday morning. Then he went to a kid's birthday party in the afternoon. we picked up. We had on Saturday nights, we typically had a movie night in our house that we'd pull the air mattress in the living room and we'd watch, a movie as a family and eat junk food and pizza. And then, we had a pretty early night because I was getting up for the run in the morning for the CIBC breast cancer run, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So not too early, but not too, right? Like if anything, we were up sort of late because of how early I had to go, right? And then, it was just a normal. And then, like I said, Thanksgiving was coming. It was my husband's birthday. Like we had plans as a family that we were all very excited for. Disneyland and meeting his cousin, and because my brother just had a baby.
Yeah. And I mean, it very well could have been the very first time. It only takes one time for it to go wrong. So, like you said, you didn't see any warning signs before. It's very possible he'd never tried it before.
And then the people that came forward, like, really showed, like, I know I'm his mom, so of course I'm going to put Bryce on a pedestal and show him as like a shining star. But, earlier you asked, like, can you say who Bryce was? And, it was really heartwarming to us. Like, so the school on the Friday, like, so Bryce would go to, the school was right on the corner, and then right across the street is Tim Hortons. And he'd have some allowance money from his chores, and he would always buy a little hot chocolate. And the crossing lady at the school, the volunteer teacher crossing lady, would always joke with him and say, "Where's mine, Bryce?" And he'd be like, "It's mine," or, and then,
Yeah.
And on that Friday before, he went and bought her one.
Aww.
So he came back with 2, and he's like, "Here."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Like they played that game like September, right into the 1st of October, like every Friday, like, "Where's mine, Bryce?" And he'd be like, "Sorry, I only got money for 1," or something. And then that time he had money for 2. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't there. I wasn't, like, it's just, he was very kind and generous. Like, as he was very caring, very loving. He really wanted to fit in and be accepted and loved, like we all do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He sounds like he was a very sweet boy.
Mm-hmm.
He honestly was, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that would say ill will, because of all the, like I said, at the Calgary floods, we volunteered as a family going out to High River, and because so many seniors are out there. He met the mayor, like he met Nemchi. A simple Google of our name, and you would see the numerous articles and the media that's been done on our family due to Bryce's generosity.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So he lived like a very full, happy life, right?
Yeah, like we're not a perfect family by any means. I'd like to think I was probably pretty strict mom. My husband's pretty easygoing. I'm probably the more strict one. That's probably from my army brat days, right? That I'm, these are the rules, and this is your bedtime, and it's homework, and this is our schedule. Because he was a boy that he was our only child. We both work full time. We really took advantage of the community by utilizing Boys and Girls Club for the multiple days off and the summer breaks and camps and everything through all Bryce's young years, because I had to work and my husband had to work. So, we were very fortunate to be able to, we live in the Southeast in Dover, and we were able to, utilize the Forest Lawn Boys and Girls Club, and it was a lifeline for our family. And, so Bryce was a kid that we kept him pretty full. If he wasn't at sports, he was at Boys and Girls Club, or, some nights we would just chill, but his calendar was pretty full. Our schedule was pretty full.
Right.
So what kind of challenges have you faced in getting clear information about this?
Well, like, I know at first the coroner's report stated that Bryce died by suicide. And then we fought to have that changed to, not fought, but we shared our evidence on why we believe Bryce died by the choking game because of the stuff that came forward, the people at the school, the police reports, the Snapchat, and that took months, like even getting into his phone, because I knew Bryce's passcode to get into his phone, because that was one of our rules when he got given the phone. It was an Apple phone.
Yeah.
And I was always to have the passcode. So the day he died, I put in the passcode that I knew, and it didn't work. So Bryce had changed his passcode. So we were locked out of his phone.
Right.
And so to get into the Apple and into the phone, like I said, we had to subpoena the courts and everything. It's not as simple when there's no criminal activity. Like I assumed
Right.
it's the Calgary police, they would be able just to hand it to their IT team and they would just get into his phone. And it wasn't that simple, actually. There's a lot of privacy laws and everything, even for anybody that has a phone. Like unless there was a criminal activity, they don't just go into your phone.
Yeah.
Because we were looking for information, like who he might have been texting or what the activity that led up to this, right?
Exactly.
And then so the challenges, like Cash just asked me, was just that the timeline to wait for all this stuff was very long. But we were successful. When we resubmit it to I don't even remember what their name is, they did change the autopsy report, like the findings and the thing to undisclosed. They said they can't change asphyxiation because he did die by asphyxiation.
Right.
So that they can't change that, but they took out the suicide, because I'm like, he has cousins, he has, like people that are little now, like his cousins, like I said, were just little, but I don't want them to Google him in 10, 15 years when they're young adults and think their cousin killed himself, when that's not what happened, right?
Right.
Right. So originally it said of asphyxiation by suicide, and it no longer says
Right.
that.
And no, now it says undisclosed. I haven't even looked at it lately, to be honest, but that was all a process, because to do that, you have to submit to an appeal board. And then it's like 5 people are on a board, like a doctor, a social worker, like high end, like a lawyer, and like high end Calgary people. And then they look at all the evidence on why, because usually what the first person that comes to your home, what they write up in their report, that's what's on it, period. It's very, very seldom overturned. But there was too much evidence that pointed otherwise. Like I said, between the police findings, the people that came forward, because they speak to the neighbors, they go to the school, they spoke to the football coach, right? Like the police have to do their due diligence too, right? And it's all an ongoing case, right?
Yeah.
When you were speaking to the police, did they give you information on this trend? What do you wish more parents knew about this trend? Is there a specific age that kids do this? Or is it all different ages? Like, did they disclose anything to you about it?
No, because like I said, a lot of the times I'm finding that it's misdiagnosed for suicide. And so, because there's such a fine line, because like typically you would know if you put something around your neck, and especially if you're alone, right, you could potentially pass out. And then if you have nobody to shake you, to wake you up, or, like commonly most people should know that could be super dangerous, right? So there's a fine line of some responsibility there, I guess, but then they say that you're a preteen's front lobe or something, like their brain, it doesn't process the consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
their frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet, so they can't understand. They can't always understand the consequences that follow actions.
Right. So in my years following, I guess I've learned that this is pretty common for teenagers. For starting there's people as young as 9, I guess.
Oh my God.
and up till early 20s.
That is wild.
And
Right?
a lot are males. There are females too, though, but a lot are males. And because I guess like not everybody dies. There are survivors, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's a trend,
yeah,
because it gives them like a euphoric type feeling, right?
like
Yeah.
some people say, like when you're playing football and you get hit really hard, like there's that feeling too. Like I don't understand it because I don't know it. Like I've never had a concussion or I've never had but I guess you get like sort of like a runner's high or like so you're not doing drugs or you're not smoking or you're not drinking, but you get kind of like a rush, like from this, I guess.
If it's like the runner's high, basically you hit this point that you feel you can do anything, that you're invincible,
Yes.
kind of thing, like when you're running. For
I've
me,
heard
that,
that.
yeah. So,
I've heard that's tied together.
yeah, it's you hit this point in your run that you don't feel anything. And this is going to sound bizarre to people that don't like running. So they're like, oh my God, how do you not feel it? But you literally feel nothing. And it could be at mile 10, it could be at mile 20, it could be at mile 6 for some people. Like it's a different point for everybody, but you hit this point that you're going through the motions, but it's like you're floating. You just don't feel anything. You feel this like almost like an out of body experience. And I know that sounds really bizarre, but it just is. It's this high that I've had it plenty of times from running. I've also had highs from other activities, but it's not the same. Like the high you get from marijuana is not the same high as a runner's high because it's an all natural, your body's doing it. So I can understand to an extent chasing that high. If it's the same, I mean, as a runner, we chase it all the time. Every run, we're waiting for that high, and it doesn't hit every time.
No.
Sometimes you could run 15, 20 miles and you're like, damn it, I didn't get it this time. So I'm going to try again, kind of thing. So if it's similar to that, then I don't want to say I can understand it, but
I've just heard that's one comparison.
Yeah.
That I've been told that from survivors.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was still seeking answers on, because as a mom, I was really trying to wrap my head on why? Like, why would you play this? Why would it,
Yeah.
Because it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And so
And why do some people survive and some people don't? Right?
Yeah.
And then that goes into like, why do so many bad things happen to great people, right? Like
Right.
you see some people in this world that are just not so good of people. And then you see other people that, like I said, he's our son. So of course I think he was a golden child, but like
He
I
was
said,
11, right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It never happened.
Yeah.
He's just the baby. Very
Made a
sad.
mistake. And I truly believe he didn't understand the consequences because of, like I explained earlier, that front lobe. Well, that's how I've been explained, because I went to doctors, I went to counselors, I went to thousands of people to get a better understanding, because it was very hard for me to move forward. I'm a person who likes to build a puzzle, and I need the puzzle pieces to fit.
Yeah.
And nothing in the beginning, nothing was fitting. It just made zero sense, and we were very confused and very lost. And so I really pushed for answers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and sometimes it's easy to listen to others tell you about this great thing and you want to experience that also. And for kids, they're not always going to understand what could happen, right? Especially if their friend is telling them, oh, I do it all the time and I'm fine.
Or you know what? They could even do it together and
Yeah.
everything was fine.
Exactly.
And then the one time you do it by yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, you can definitely see that because some kids are very good at influencing other kids. It's unfortunate that they use their influence for things like this.
Yeah. I don't even know if they even knew the consequences, so either.
Exactly.
Because there's kids like we have a memorial bench, and every year on his birthday, every year, on his thing, especially in the beginning, the kids from the school would come and stuff. And so they would share the impact.
Yeah.
There was 3 boys to my knowledge, by the way. And I can't swear who the third person was either, but.
And so do you think they were doing this together at one point?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because of like the what do you call that? The monitors in the school, like they would see them like in the playground, like at recess or on lunch or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so they were doing it at school as well.
Hearsay, but from my understanding, yes. There was like I said, but they were roughhousey boys too. So people can't swear, like, because then when the teacher or the supervisor would come over, there'd be just like, we were just wrestling Mrs. Jones, or we were just,
Right.
what are you doing, boys? Break it up, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you fighting? Are you, oh no, we were just wrestling, right?
Yeah.
11, 12-year-old boys, that right? Like they were roughhousing, or they were, right?
And what about like at each other's houses? Did they go to each other's houses a lot?
He would come to our house, but I would always be here. Like Bryce wasn't allowed friends here without us home.
Right.
So we had pretty strict rules because there was sometimes like a little period between work and school being let out, and then me coming home from work. Like I'm talking half an hour, 40 minutes max.
Yeah.
But Bryce had his own key and he would let him, right? And he wasn't allowed, like no kids were allowed in my house without us home. And that's where my strict mom came in.
But he did go to friends' houses too, right? Like all kids too? No?
Yeah, but not a lot. Like we were a pretty busy family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like us. Yeah. My daughter has no time for that stuff. Yeah. So
like I said, we had a pretty full schedule and we only had him, right? So it was easier to invite friends here and we'd watch a movie or eat snacks and stuff, and then they'd go home. I can't say, like, it's not like he never had sleepovers, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And when he did like go to friends' houses and stuff, was it these specific boys' houses or was it other friends?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. So they were
not the bully's house, the third person, the third child's house. Yes.
Okay. So these were his like main friend group then.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could speak to like schools and youth organizations, what message would you want them to hear?
I just would want them to share the dangers of the game and to share about the signs to watch for.
Right.
Like I was speaking about earlier, the bloodshot eyes, the marks possibly on their neck.
Yeah.
Redness in their skin.
Yeah.
I'd want the schools and the organizations to just share about the dangers of it, and that the kids can say no, and that they don't wish to participate.
Yeah, I think it's probably something that as many parents and as many teachers and as many youth organizations are out there, they should all have some kind of understanding. Like it's a game that has continued on throughout the years and it just keeps coming back, and maybe it could possibly be more common than we think. So I think it's probably something everybody involved with youth should know.
At one point, I think I was pushing to possibly try to get into the schools and speak about this to give knowledge better. And there was a lot of pushback because it's almost like how they don't want to talk about suicide either. That they feel like if they share this kind of stuff, then it encourages the kids to try it or something.
Yeah, but they become curious.
But when I talked to because Bryce was in a Catholic school, and when I talked to the CC, the board, because they came to his funeral, right? Like so they were open to speaking to us, but they weren't open to us coming into the schools and talking directly more about it, because from my understanding, it was a fine line for the teachers and the principals to be I can't remember exactly how it all went down, to be honest, but yeah, it met too much red tape, basically, because they said, like you mentioned, you work in a school, like, do you understand? Like, I know you guys have assemblies and you talk about bullying, or you bring, awareness around drugs, or you bring awareness around making good choices and stuff.
Right.
Well, I don't understand, I guess, as a mom, why some of these social media trends that are taking our children's lives aren't spoken about more openly, directly with the children.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I can think of, though, is it makes them maybe it makes them more curious about it, you know? So when you talk about it, then they might want to try it. You know what I mean?
I think that's the excuse they use. Yeah.
That's bottom line, in a roundabout way. That's the red tape that I received.
Yeah.
That they kind of want to sweep it under the rug. They're aware it's happening, and they claim the teachers are, were aware of how Bryce died, and they'd be watching the class and at recess and stuff more, but they didn't want to make an assembly about it, because maybe some kids weren't aware of it at all, and then would do it, or
Children are very impulsive, right? They do not think before they do.
Okay, so I'm going to have a very controversial view of this. Surprise. I'm going to be the controversial one. So if the school is saying we don't want to bring it in because people might get the idea to do it when it comes to, say, suicide or the choking game, would that not apply to...
I know what you're going to say.
I'm like, how do I say this? We're going to get flack for this anyway. They all know which hosted it. It's Joanne. Just send your messages to me. Would that not apply to the trans and the LGBTQ? Would that not have the same... If they're encouraging the talk about that and saying just because they hear about it does not make them that way, is that not the same with suicide and the choking game? Would that not be the same theory?
Yes, it is the same theory.
Yeah. So all you teachers or school people out there, explain to me why it's different. That's all I'm saying. One, talking about suicide and talking about things like the choking game.
Or the Tide Pods.
Exactly.
Or all these challenges.
All these things.
Sneezing pepper or something.
Huffing.
Right.
Huffing.
Maybe if we talk about them, if we say, this is what can happen, this is how it happens, this is what goes wrong, this is how easy it goes wrong, this is how you don't have to do it 10 times, 50 times before it goes wrong. It could go wrong the first time. Maybe if we talk about that, bring awareness to that side. Like, no one's saying let's go into the schools and glorify this trend. Absolutely not. We go into the schools and scare the ever-loving shit out of these kids that you do this, you could die.
Yeah.
That was my hope in the beginning, my first couple years when the fog started to lift and I had more clarity and more knowledge. I was hoping to spread awareness, but I'm still doing it in my own way, like talking to you ladies today, which I appreciate the platform to use to do the so. Or even in messages, when I share every year, when I'm very open on my social media and on my platforms to, about what happened to our son, I share it purely for knowledge. And every single time I share, I promise you, I get a message from a parent that said, or a grandma, or an auntie, or a social worker, or a teacher, or somebody that says, wow, I just spent some time and learned about this, and thank you. And I sat down with my own whomever, and, and we had a frank conversation, because due to their age or their own, there's so much information online that you're able to dig up to be able to sit down within your own dining room table and talk to your teenagers and have open conversations like, are you aware of this? Because I kid you not, most of the kids come back and say, we know already, or they say, yeah, I heard, but I said no, or the kids are well aware of who's doing this, and it is happening.
Yeah, but the parents are not aware, right? And that's who we need to make aware of this. Going into schools and talking to the kids, huge benefit, in my opinion. I think because not only are you just going into the schools to talk to the kids, but I mean, back when my kids were in school, if there was someone coming in to talk to them, we got a letter about it. So now when you go into the schools to talk about kids, you're making all their parents aware by that letter that goes home to give them the heads up, hey, this person is coming to talk to the kids about this. So then the parents...
and I remember that happening, even like I said, about, I mean, he passed a little young, so it maybe hits more junior high. It might have been in his grade 7 to 9. But even way back when I went to school, we had different people come in and talk about drugs or talk about the effects of drinking or you know, different things and depending what was going on in society. But like I said, today I don't know, one of you is in a school, so I'm sure you have people that come in and talk about bullying or talk about...
Actually, we haven't had anybody come in and talk about anything, so there's just that. There's like zero.
But I went all the way to the like head cheese of the Catholic board, and he allowed me in his office, and we had, you know, a pretty deep meeting, and I received empathy and understanding, and I was grateful that he opened the afternoon to sit with me, but he was very clear that he did not see this being pushed through to being discussed at a school level,
which is completely ridiculous.
I don't understand why. I work in a school. I am not high up in the school, so I honestly I cannot say why. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Honestly, it's probably something like they don't want any potential legal responsibility.
Oh, and then I just was reminded from Malcolm, who just entered the house. We actually went to Parliament over this.
Oh, really? What was that like?
Yeah. That was because we were trying to pass, because that's when we were pushing, because like I said, once coroner's reports made, like, or the inspection, it's very like 99.9% very, very seldom changed.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to pass some laws like a bill, basically, like Bryce's law, because of all the red tape. Like, if I wasn't such a mama bear, but like I said, in my grief and in my progress to make things work, like I have a puzzle and I had to make this puzzle fit for my own mental health and my own, but I received so much red tape, like, and so maybe a person not as strong as me, or, you know, would just accept what was said and done and then leave it be. But because I pushed and pushed, I was able to change and overturn this. And then that caught, because it went on the media and it went on the things, like one of the MLAs reached out and said, okay, I'd like to bring this to Edmonton. And then we drove to Edmonton and we went to the legislate, and we were able to share what happened with Bryce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't help but wonder, and this is purely my own speculation, I guess, but how many other children have passed due to asphyxiation that was just assumed to be a suicide, but maybe wasn't? Maybe they were playing this game, right?
And that's what I mean, because of media and the like, there's lots of people that take their own lives or whatever, but there's not always sometimes full investigations done.
Yeah.
And some are genuine suicides. Like, I'm not saying teenagers don't take their own life, but like you said, usually there's depression, there's some bullying, there's, you know,
there are signs.
Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into all that, right? Like,
and without a note or without a clear, I don't even know how to word it, a clear way of them letting you know that they were taking their own lives. You know, like if they haven't left a suicide note, if there wasn't text found to a friend saying that they're going to do this, maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
suicide. Maybe it was something else. And so I think there should be that the police should be investigating that
Yeah.
because maybe this is happening far more than anybody is aware,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which is heartbreaking.
Yeah. From our understanding, there's 3 out of 10 kids like that are playing and then being misdiagnosed.
Those are high numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are very scary numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's statistics, like, because like I said, even when we did our media and they had other forensic specialists come forward or other, because the news will do their own investigating and their own thing. Yeah, it's not put out there. And so,
Mhm.
Yeah, so
I
some
feel
parents might not even know that they should be looking at this instead.
right.
Right.
But like I said, when I share personally, I always get a message or an email or something that says, "Hey, just so I read your story or it came across and thanks." And yeah, 10 years later still.
Yeah.
So, what would you want young people themselves to understand about this trend?
I'd want them to know that it's extremely dangerous, that you could play one time and it can take your life. Like or you could become handicapped in some way because you lose brain cells, like, right? Like when you're unconscious and you're like, it's a very dangerous line to toe. I'd want the young kids to tell an adult, whether that's their teacher, their counselor, their coach, their parents,
Yeah.
and so they could sit down and talk about it as a family
Or even if they know that their friends are doing it, even if they're not doing it, but their friends are doing it, if they knew how scary this was and how dangerous this was, maybe they would be more likely to let somebody know.
Yes. Yeah, I guess my biggest message is I just wish this is a journey no parent would ever have to experience. It's
Yeah.
absolutely horrific. We have answers now, but Bryce is very missed and loved, not just by us as his parents, but by his community, by the teachers. I still get messages to this day that say he made a big impact, and he was very popular, and yeah.
So, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't have to share it on here, but where is his bench? Because I wouldn't mind going to visit it.
His bench is on 26th Avenue and 26th Street Southeast. It overlooks Inglewood Golf Course, and it's on the ridge, like the walking path, right?
Oh, very nice.
26. It's 26th Ave and 26th Street, and it's made from the city of Calgary, like how you see that when you go for a walk on our beautiful pathways, and it literally says his name and everything. You can't miss it. It's on the right hand side. You park your car and you come up the path and it's on the right, and it literally overlooks Inglewood Golf Course, and you can see all of downtown and everything. It brings us a lot of comfort. We go over and sit on it because we have a dog.
Me growing up, to go to cemeteries, because like my dad's always told us, everybody has a story. And then it would also be nice to bring my kids along to it to kind of, because we like doing those things.
Yeah,
So
that's an excellent way. I don't mind if that part is shared on the podcast, by the way, because it's it's public. I even get messages randomly from people saying, "Hey, I came across Bryce's bench today," and then they take a little picture and send it to me. And it makes my heart feel nice that the community 10 years, because when something first happens, of course, people rally and trust me, I wouldn't be here if we got support, like our 24/7. We had meals and community, and people were, I don't know, that we were very taken care of emotionally and supportive by, but then life happens again, and people get back because they're busy and they're moms and they're they got their own kids and their own schedule, and so as years pass, it slows down. So when I randomly, get a message on a Saturday afternoon that, I was on the bridge and, we sat and talked to Bryce today, it really warms my heart. It makes me feel very good as a mom that our son's remembered, not just by us as his immediate family, but by the community also.
Right.
And it makes me tear up, to be honest. It makes me feel very grateful. And, because, life is busy and people get back to normality, whatever that is for them. And although our world stopped, theirs didn't. And it's funny, your friendships change.
Yeah.
You make all these friends in the hockey arena and on the football field and all these circles. And one thing I'll share about grief and losing a child is the people that you think are going to be there for you. Not that they're not there for you, but they almost run away. And it's strangers that almost step up more in aspect, like I said, when long term, that
wild.
That they didn't even know Bryce, or they didn't even, but they're like, by the pictures you post or by the stories you tell or by the, I really, feel for you. And then you think, like I said, your bestest of bestest friends, or the people that you spent 4 days of the week at the baseball stadium with, or the, like you were in their lives, and, you barely talk to them now because some people don't know what to say to you. Yeah. Because it's not that they don't care or that they don't, right? But they
don't know.
They don't know what to say, or they feel bad that they have their children still, or I've heard it all, right?
Yeah.
Be like, it's grief is funny. And so that's another whole thing though, about grief. But it is, I don't mean to stray away from this, but I just wanted to share that part's funny too, because the people that you think are going to be there for you sometimes aren't.
Right.
And strangers step up in a more meaningful, and so it's funny as you evolve how things change.
Yeah, it's that thing where people come into your life for a reason or a season.
Yeah. And I think people mean well. I don't think that anybody means ill will, but like I said, when I asked some of my closest, like, hey, I'm very hurt that it's been 6 months and I haven't heard, or, it was his birthday yesterday and all I got was, a small little, right? And I got a heartfelt from it. And then they're like, I don't know what to say to you. Right. And I'm like, so that was funny. But I don't mean to stray away from this, but
it's all important things that go along with it, right? So
because it really makes you question, like, and so some of the stuff that they come back with is interesting too, and it makes you learn.
Yeah. Have you become involved in any like awareness or advocacy or support groups?
So in USA, there's a big choking game group run by Judy that I did find on social media, and I was pretty involved with it. And they push a lot more in the USA,
right?
For this, and she's constantly going to the White House and kind of doing what we tried to do with the legislate here in Edmonton. But they meet red tape too. Yeah. But there are some groups on social media. But in the beginning, my grief was so big that sometimes when I was in that group, to hear the others sunk me lower.
Right.
So I almost had to distance myself a little bit because, like I said, I was seeking answers so much. And some people were like, the answers don't matter. This is what happened. And I'm like, it does matter to me. Like, you have no idea how hard I had to fight for those answers and push people and push people at really high levels. Like I said, like to dig, because even getting into his phone was like, to the detective was like, they're just like, well, I'm like, just give it to your IT guy and, you can be in his phone, can't you? You're the police. Like, and they're like, no, actually, at first he's like, yeah, I'll go try. And then, and you got to remember, they go on days off or they have other cases or they have other things happening. And so then they're like, you don't hear from them for 3 weeks, and then you're like, hi, so did we get any answers about the phone? And I found I was the one that constantly had to keep pushing this to the forefront and constantly and so like I said, if you weren't a strong person or had a strong personality like I have, I don't know that you'd get answers, because you meet so many closed doors, not on purpose, not on anything, but when there's no, I don't know. It's not as simple as a 1 hour crime show. There's big gaps that, like I said, we didn't hear for 6 or 8 months before we even got the first reports back, right? Like we wanted to know if he had drugs or alcohol in his system. I assumed he didn't, but my mom was like, no, I want that checked, right? We didn't get that back for almost 9.5 months.
Yeah, when my father passed away, I asked for an autopsy report because I wasn't involved with him and I really wanted to know why he passed away. It took them over a year to tell me.
Yeah.
To finally call me and tell me what it was. So
you have to have
it's a long process.
It's a long process. I don't mean to keep going back to, it's not a 1 hour TV show, but that's all when you have no criminal history or no knowledge, all you can go off of is, and like I said, and then you don't hear for 3-4 weeks and you're like, hi, so where are we at with his phone? And then they're like, yeah, we can't open it. It's like, what? So what do we need to do? And then you don't hear again for another 2 weeks. Like, you have to subpoena the courts and take it to Apple in California. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm his mom. He was a child. Like the contract was under my name. Like, and you phone TELUS and you go to Apple store and you just like I said, because I really wanted answers. So for my own grief and my own clarity, I really pushed, and because I'm a puzzle person and I need all the puzzle pieces to fit, right?
Yeah.
So did the police then say that they had tried to access the phone?
Yeah, they couldn't without the warrant, not the warrant, but
you tried to use the password that you knew and it didn't work, right?
That's right.
So did you end up locking the phone?
I did.
Okay.
Because when you try to use the Apple too much, because I was very foggy and I was very confused.
Okay.
So if you try to get into a phone and you use it 3 times,
right, then it locks the phone.
It's locked and you can't get into it. And even the police can't get into it.
I just wasn't sure if
I didn't
had
know
locked
that,
it or if the police had tried and they had locked it.
I did by accident.
Right. Yeah.
In my dog and in my...
Which is totally understandable,
Why my password wasn't working, because that was one of our rules of him having a cell phone.
Yeah.
Was I knew the passcode to get into it.
Yeah. Which is smart, which is exactly what parents should do, right? They should access to the phone.
Earlier, Cash, you asked what would I want parents to know? I think parents need to make rules around their kids' phones. I'm not saying, as I still believe an 11-year-old deserves a phone. He had to walk, 5 blocks from school to home, sometimes after school at 3:30 in the afternoon, even with the other neighborhood kids and stuff. But I had it, then he had to phone me, to tell me he was in the house, and then he would do his chores, right? And at any point, I do think parents should, for a minute there was a little contract that went around viral online, like, this is your phone, but mom and dad have your password and I'm able to take it from you at any time. And
which, in all honesty, 100%. That's exactly how it should be. Kids deserve privacy to an extent, and it's not an invasion of their privacy when you access their phone. You're doing your job as a parent and ensuring their safety.
So your own family, you'll make your own rules, but our rules was the phone, bedtime was 9:30, our wind down time, and the phone stayed out in the public area. Like, he wasn't allowed in the bedroom with it. And I know a lot of families have those same rules, right? The bedrooms are upstairs and, phones stay charged in the main area. I do want to share that I think parents should monitor their kids' social media activity, especially today. I mean, like I shared 100 times, Bryce has passed a long time ago, and the world's evolving and we see, all the stuff happening online, the bullying and the predators and the bad stuff that can come with phones, right? I know that's getting away from the choking game, but it all toes. Like it's all
100%.
social media trends. Like they learn it and they, there's teenage girls meeting up with people that they think are the same age, but they end up being, older men, and they're, there's a lot of secrecy and and I think if parents were more involved, but I don't know how much more involved me and my husband could have been. Like
yeah,
I said, I'm not trying to, I wasn't a perfect mom, but I was pretty involved, and we were, he was our only child. I know sometimes parents have 3-4 children, and so, it's harder, and, the dad takes some kids to hockey and some kids to swimming, and, you're all over the place and it's hard, but yeah, within your own family dynamics, you should find because it's a dangerous world out there. It's not the world we grew up with, ladies. I assume you're
exactly
my age. And yeah, I didn't even have a cell phone, obviously, because they weren't around in the 80s.
Yep.
Maybe that's a blessing.
Yep.
Right. And we still made bad choices sometimes,
Exactly.
But yeah, I know there's there's other people that say I would never give my 11-year-old a cell phone. Why did he have that? Why was he, have this? But I thought he was mature enough, but.
Well, and I would say my response to that would be it wouldn't have mattered. In all honesty, it wouldn't have mattered if kids want to find, like, this stuff finds them regardless of whether they have a phone or not, because it's at school or, whatever. Okay, so they don't have a cell phone, but they probably have access to a computer. And I also don't feel like sheltering kids from technology is good either, because we have to accept as parents, technology is here to stay, and it is much better to teach them how to use it, to teach them how to be safe while using it, and what to look for, and all the aspects that could come along with technology and social media, than it is to say, absolutely not, you're not having it. You're not doing them a good service by doing that. You're hindering their learning, because it's something they're just gonna have to learn this when they're older, when there's a lot more influences. I don't think it really makes a difference whether they have a phone or not. I think it's going to be, if it's a trend going around, it'll find kids one way or another.
Like I say, I knew that this was happening when I was younger.
Exactly.
And there was no cell phones
right
back then. And there was I don't even think there was computers back then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And kids knew about it and kids did it still. The cell phone is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that plays a big of a role as maybe some parents think.
Yeah.
Like even when we went into Apple to give him the phone and the tablet, Apple said to put it in his name so he could start to build the credit, because how I said it was under my name, under my account. Then the manager at Apple was like, no, even though he's only 11, he's going to need the credit. He's going to, so yes, it could be under your account, but in Bryce's name.
Yeah.
To start building credit, because it all falls in line, right? Even I mean, as you know, an 11-year-old turns 12 and then 13 and 14, and credit and how important all that is.
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're going to find it. They're going to use it. How many people that say my kids don't have Facebook, but their kids do have Facebook? The kids are just good at hiding it, right? They just obviously didn't put it in their name. It's in a different name, and they access it through a friend's phone or whatever that may be, right? So
I think most of the kids are on Instagram or Twitter
or whatever.
Yeah.
Let me just show my age a little more.
I know we use a lot of Facebook as 40, 50-year-olds, but honestly, I think they're teenagers. The more I'm learning is, like you said, they make up fake names and they're,
they've got their Instagram, their TikTok, their whatever else is out there,
there's
right?
all these little gangs out there now.
Yeah.
And it's quite scary.
Yeah. But I think it's important for them to learn this stuff and get all this information from people other than their peers. If mom is talking to them about this stuff, and if mom is explaining about like the stuff online and all that stuff, at least we can tell them the truth versus what their peers are going to tell them, right?
Because I truly believe he had no knowledge of how dangerous this was. I think they think it's a very innocent game. They get this high, this, yeah, I don't know, escape, and for whatever reason, it's fun, and I don't understand that part to it to discuss it more, but that's from my understanding what happens from the survivors that I've spoke with.
Right. So is there anything else that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
No, I can't think of anything. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, we've gone through them all. I think this has been informative.
Very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Informative. Very eye-opening.
And I'm sorry for your loss. I can't imagine losing your child.
Thank you. I appreciate that, ladies.
Very sorry. Yeah, I've been following you for many years, so I've known about this for many years.
Yeah. And as somebody in the school system, then I hope it allows you to, because I'm sure you're restricted even to be able to how much you can share with it, like your own guidelines. From my understanding, like I said, because I took this all the way to the superintendent, right? And I seen he was gracious and gave me the opportunity, and we spent a long time. But yeah,
but I can definitely keep my eyes open, right?
So hard to tell, right? Like, are they roughhousing? Are they, what are,
Yeah.
And there are signs, like I said, right? And so follow your intuition, right? I didn't see the signs, and trust me, I racked my brain. Like I didn't sleep for forever, right? But thinking back, like what about this or what about that, and even asking his friends, but you'd be surprised how many people, like I said, clammed right up. Like they got really scared and they got really quiet. And then the parents even backed off, and the parent, like, because I was a mama bear seeking answers, right? Like, and so it wasn't a good time because people are sympathetic, but then they also have to protect their own families and their own, right?
Exactly. Well, I couldn't imagine what you've gone through.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the space to speak about this, and I hope it's been helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for letting us speak about this. And, we're a mom podcast, so we get a lot of moms, and we just want all the moms to know about these things.
Yeah. We have no restrictions of who we can share this with. That's the nice part about the platform of the podcast. So there's no red tape for us. We can share it with everybody.
Exactly.
Well, nice chatting with you guys, and have a nice Sunday evening, and happy holidays to all you ladies and your families.
Thank you.
You too, Keri. Thank you.
And let me know if I can be of any assistance or you need anything.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It was really nice chatting with you.
Yeah.
And you ladies, you made me feel very warm and invited.
Okay, so the choking game is extremely dangerous. The brain needs a constant supply of oxygen. Cutting off that supply, even briefly, can cause fainting, head injuries from collapsing, seizures, brain damage, cardiac arrest, and death, sometimes within seconds. Many fatalities happen when a child does this alone, thinking they're safe. As Keri discussed, there are some warning signs parents might see. This is for awareness, not for instructions. So these are possible warning signs. They're not 100% guarantee, but definitely something you should look for. So unusual marks or redness on the neck, bloodshot eyes, frequent headaches, belts, ropes, scarves, or cords found in odd places, locked or secretive behavior in bedrooms or bathrooms, interest in online videos showing fainting challenges. These are indicators, not proof, like I said, but they can help adults catch a risk early. Most parents report that they had no idea their child knew about this. No warning signs, a child who wasn't otherwise taking risks, a belief their child would never do something like that. The lack of awareness is one reason prevention is so critical. Like Keri said, she had no clue, right?
Yeah.
And, it very well could be the very first time they try it.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
This was tough, but a very important one for sure.
It's super important. I'm happy that we're getting it out there.
Yeah.
Right? Because she never even heard about it before. She never knew about it before. So maybe if we can get out there and tell people that don't know about it,
Yeah,
it can save a
exactly.
life, right?
Yeah, I think it actually infuriates me that the schools don't allow people to come in and talk about it. I'm sure there's some bureaucratic reason why, but I'm
I
guessing that's
honestly
covering their
think
own ass.
because children are impulsive, and if you talk about it, they are going to do it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I think possibly, but
Just like your LBGQ,
yeah,
right? Like it is talked about so much that
yeah,
now it's a trend
yeah,
to, right? Like pronouns and
yeah,
like different, I don't know the word, like, but different, there's like
different
lesbian,
genders.
bisexual, there's different, and I think that
Yeah.
it's becoming a trend because it's being talked about too much.
Yeah.
And this can possibly fall in that category. If it's talked about too much, then kids are curious.
Then
Kids
stop.
are going to want to try it. Why we need to inform the parents so they can look out for it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Say
mean?
that. Do more of the parents first.
Do more the parent. Yeah.
And then worry about the kid. Because at least the parent could stop them first.
Exactly. I just find it very hypocritical that they can talk about all the LGBTQ, but not this. And for exactly that reason, if it's because they're so influential that they're just going to do it, if they
So then why are we talking
Stop
about
talking
that
about
too?
that.
I agree, but
Yeah.
government is.
When I heard that Tide one, and I was like, why would you take a Tide pod and eat it?
Honestly,
probably because they heard about it somewhere.
But still, you know it goes in the laundry. So why?
Right, that's what I mean by impulsiveness. Kids are impulsive. They're gonna do shit they're not supposed to do.
Yeah. They don't have the cognitive ability to think shit through. So it just leaves them no fault of their own, right? Like
no, their brains aren't even fully developed
exactly.
yet.
Yeah,
like it's not their fault at all.
Exactly. They just do dumb shit because they're kids and they're meant to do dumb shit. That's part of how they learn. But it's just, unfortunately, sometimes that dumb shit costs them their life.
Yeah.
And I think if parents had more knowledge that this shit was going on, I mean, honestly, with society the way it is now, parents that do learn about this, I hope I can see them being, I'm absolutely going to take away their phone. They can't have their phone because of this. Well, you have not helped them.
Well, like I just said,
take their
I
phone
knew
away.
about this happening, and we didn't have cell phones.
Exactly.
And we didn't have computers at our fingertips back then. So, and I knew this was happening, and kids were doing it. And so cell phones is a bullshit excuse. It's not your cell phone.
It's the whole kids do bad shit because they listen to rap music or watch shit or play games or whatever, right? Like they play video games, it makes them into bad people. No, I think if parents talk to their kids about this and explain, like I would put the total fear, like if you do this, you will die. Or worse, you will end up like a vegetable. So you'll be aware of everything, but not be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Because you played this game. And I would not, I don't know how much I would stress the idea that you could play it 50 times before it happens. I'd be like, you can play it one time and then that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would just put that fear into them.
Yep. Yep.
So that's it for Moms on Mics this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Moms on Mics Podcast, on TikTok at Moms on Mics, and join our Facebook group, Moms on Mics.
If anyone has any topics you would like us to cover, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at momsonmics@gmail.com or submit through our website, momsonmics.com.
We would also appreciate it if you could rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast move up on their charts so it gets more exposure. I hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.